Okay, click that and set that there. There we go. Welcome back, everybody, for a surprise double feature lethal short podcast. We don't know,
We have
but
absolutely no
Bonus podcast.
yeah, I before we started Wild Wild West, I saw that the new Mortal Kombat movie was on the HBO Max apps here, so we decided to plug that shit in, and holy fucking balls, man!
What? Let me talk about it. We were trying to talk about a romp before.
Yeah.
Like holy shit! Like
We had a good time.
I don't
Yeah.
know if I've had this much fun watching just a stupid like action for action's sake.
Stupid.
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, not
you respect the
highbrow.
mythology, sir. All right.
It's not highbrow cinematic artwork, one might say. It's like you watch this movie because you want to see people beat each other up and slice bodies in half and stuff like that. And I think I'm not the only. I think I can speak for everybody in the room here when I say this movie delivers.
Oh, 100%. And let me caveat what you're saying in terms of cutting people up. In that the movie doesn't just cut people up; it cuts people up in like with all of the appropriate signifiers that like the Mortal Kombat. You know, like it isn't just like we're just going to be brutal for brutal's sake. Like they were genuinely artful in trying to essentially recreate what we've been able to see digitally for the past couple of years. Especially I feel once we hit like the more like 360, like the new the
PS2 era, sort of. Is that what you're talking? PS2 360 era?
No, I was talking more like the newest Mortal Kombat, where like it just became Mortal Kombat again. You know?
Oh
like,
yeah.
and it was like in the like Xbox 360, and everybody just everything just looked more filled in by that point, right? So I feel like the director and whoever the fighting choreographer was like, not to say that they were cribbing, but at the same time they took their they were very, very obvious with their inspirations in relation to what they chose.
Yeah, even as like when we first started this movie, Hannah said, "Oh yeah, it's that game where people fight, right?" And we're like,
no,
yeah.
I mean I played Mortal Kombat, but I never watched a Mortal Kombat movie. I didn't know any of the backstory.
Right. So even as somebody who doesn't know the backstory but had played the game,
it feels like the game to watch this movie.
Right?
Yeah.
You feel like you're playing a character and you feel vindicated when you win.
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
Yes, I think it delivered on all of the voice lines that I cared to hear. The finish him, flawless victory, fatality. Yeah.
And I personally feel they genuinely tried to go out of their way not to be hammy about it.
No,
right?
It all felt very natural, in my opinion.
Like it's just something that will happen in this universe. Like a situation will get this intense and somebody will say finish him, or they will say like a flawless victory, or that, you know what I mean? Like in the same way that in Final Fantasy money is just called gil, like that's just something that just happens in this universe.
That's just a thing.
Yeah, exactly. And they take it just so well in stride, even in the middle of the action. And even you as like even as like a Family Guy-esque situation, like, oh, he said the line, like
yeah,
it's the best.
Yeah, it's
seriously
so fun. Like
it was so fun. And Kano's character in this movie is a blast. He brings all the comedic
in my
relief.
Personal opinion.
Yeah, he really owned it pretty much all the way through. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he made an hour and 50 minutes feel like just shy of an hour.
Like nothing.
Just shy of an hour.
It felt like the first episode of like the first 40 minutes of like a long like form show. You know what I mean?
A really good anime.
It really felt like 20 to 30 minutes to watch this movie. I'm so impressed, and I do feel like I was like hanging on his every word for my entertainment for the next moment.
Yeah, in the way that the first episode of Battlestar Galactica, the new one, was like an hour and a half long, like this movie pretty much can just block into a 40-minute situation. Next one. Everybody's got their powers.
Easy.
Everybody can go off and do their thing. You know what I mean? It's like,
and how cool was everybody getting their powers?
Oh, and just the effects, the fucking
everything.
Ice, the laser beams,
yeah, it's so amazing what like having the capacity to be able to showcase things so cleanly now,
Mm.
as opposed to like I just felt like everything just had to be so overdone. You know what I mean? Like back in like the 90s and
Mm.
2000s and stuff like that, because of like the CGI looked so goofy. They had to like really, really go out of their way to like add it. And you know, unfortunately, our modern discerning eye can just see right through that shit so quickly. And
We're spoiled.
even Goro, like it genuinely looked like a creature who might just pop out of a dimension, in my personal opinion. Like that, like I can believe that that creature exists somewhere else in some other, you know what I mean, like facet of reality and stuff like that.
Reptile looked so cool and
Fuck
how he was kind
yeah.
of phasing in and out of reality and like switching form a little bit. It was
Mm.
so cool.
Yeah, everything about his fighting tactic too, turning off the lights first, and then
Yeah.
catching everybody through silence, and you know what I mean, like them
Okay.
having to catch on to, that situation.
Invisibility.
Hmm.
So
Minor complaint there. Minor complaint. The dark rooms, they did that a couple times with the shaky cam, and you can really tell because in contrast, the fight between Sub-Zero and Scorpion at the end was not shaky cam, and it was very brightly lit. And they spent a lot of time doing the choreography and spending money on the special effects.
don't you think that could have been an artistic decision?
A little bit, but they did it too many times. They kept doing that throughout the movie. It was really dark when Kano and Sonya fought in the trailer park house. Extremely dark. You could barely see what was going on. A lot of shaky cam, a lot of cut.
I thought it had like that section actually had like a Kill Bill 2-esque feeling to it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they were fighting almost in the exact same way that the Bride and the California Copperhead
Mm-hmm.
fight each other at the very end.
I think
Yeah,
that has a
Even to
lot
the degree
do.
that the guy that like she blinded him. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, like his laser eye or whatever
Mhm.
turned it off.
I think
Yeah,
that has a
okay,
lot
fair
to
enough.
do with the environment. Honestly, I think they were like creating a vibe with that decision because we saw like Blades and Kano fight later in broad daylight too. I don't think it was a laziness thing. It seemed like a decision to me.
I think that if anything, it might be a compromise to not over CGI Reptile, so you make that section dark, right?
Yeah.
Already you have the ace of the fact that the darkness helps Reptile naturally, and
Yeah.
you don't have to over CGI the situation to the degree that it might begin to look goofy in a scene or two. You know what I mean? If it gets to be too
Yeah.
bright,
Also, like I
Yeah.
assume like a trailer house is gonna be dark. It felt really natural to me.
It's true, but little coincidental. All I'm saying is that the contrast in how much well done or the viewability, you might say, of the Scorpion Sub-Zero fight. Granted, it's the peak fight of the movie, and that's where you want to put your energy. It contrasts to those other ones as like being really dark and shaky cam and a lot of stuff moving on all very quickly. And this is not, I mean, it's just a minor gripe. It's not really a complaint. I think the movie is fantastic. So,
oh no, for
you know,
sure. I get what you're saying. I mean, like
yeah.
I'm glad to hear like gripes because I mean I couldn't feel. I mean, like I'm still in the glow of like the afterglow.
You're in the honeymoon phase.
Yeah,
of this
exactly.
movie.
Like yeah, ground me. In relation to what you think might be something. You know what I mean?
Oh, by the way, what a fucking cock tease where they held off on playing the full Mortal Kombat music until the very end. Until the very end of the movie, they only played little starting bits, little clips here and there. And then the end,
I think it's perfect. You gotta earn it.
Oh,
You gotta watch the whole movie to be
fuckers,
able to hear
man.
the fucking song.
Oh my god, what an easy task to do though, to watch the whole movie to hear the Mortal Kombat
Yeah.
song.
fair enough.
I really like I
Not very
know
difficult.
I'm really having a hard time coming up with, and like Jose said, I'm also kind of still in the glow in the aftermath of just enjoying this movie so much. I'm really having a hard time coming up with anything that I don't like about it. I also really enjoyed the changing of languages in the movie because when we first started it, I was
yes.
like, yeah, to be 100% transparent, I was like, oh, subtitles.
Oh no.
And then when it switched to English later, I was like, oh, it's because that was a long time ago. And then I thought that was like a cool decision.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that they maintained it throughout. Like, just because Hanzo comes back in the modern time doesn't mean that he automatically knows how to speak English. Like, he's still, like, his spirit is still only within the knowledge of what he knew within his lifetime. So he comes back and he speaks, Japanese.
That was a question that I had though, because Cole's character seemed to understand him. So are we to assume that he knows how to speak Japanese?
I don't think he understood him.
He did. I watched for this. It's because Hanzo's character said, "Leave him to me," and then Cole's character backwards walked out of the fighting scene.
Oh, interesting.
Well, it could be a body language thing.
I didn't see any body language. Maybe he did a hand thing. You might be right.
Tough to say, because I honestly felt that Hanzo said what he said, but he didn't. But like, he kind of said it more for himself. Like, for example, when after he beat Sub-Zero and he looked at him and he took off his mask and he's like, "Protect my bloodline." It didn't turn that, like, there was no panning over to Cole to make it seem like he like took in, you know what I mean, like the message. It was just more like something that Hanzo just said just to say it, you know what I mean? Like, because I personally, maybe I missed it, you know what I mean? But there was a lot of chitter chatter between Matt and I while we were watching the movie, so I totally might have missed the whole section where it might have seemed like Hanzo and Cole actually like understood each other. But to me, it didn't look like it. But at the same time, Scorpion did say, "Get over here."
I was too distracted by all of the moves. I couldn't stop noticing all of the moves. The sweet Scorpion, get over here. The Sub-Zero, turn your blood into an ice pick and stab you with it.
And then do that sweet
so
wall.
Cool.
Yes, the ice wall Scorpion. When he takes off his mask and he breathes hellfire on you. That was a fucking move. All these moves.
Yeah, honestly.
The Jack's head slap fatality. The fuck, can we list them all? Could we even possibly? I'm sure somebody's done it on the internet, but
guaranteed.
like, was there even any that you recognized just from the video game where you were like, "Oh, I remember that from you called it out right away." When you were like, "Is this like a joke?" With the little sweep kick or whatever.
Yeah, it was when the sweep kick was happening at first, and Kano's character said, "Do you even know any other moves made?" And I was like, "I've had that fight with my childhood friends and siblings."
And he even tried to do the fake out jump, and like he totally missed the timing for it.
Gotcha.
Yep. Yeah, it was, god damn it, so fun. Like, they really connected. The ability to be able to maintain an internally serious story, but like a fourth wall levity to it. Like
yeah, we were talking about how they have to.
Yeah, it was like they had weird satirical undertones that connected with the audience, which was really cool.
Yeah, honestly, like, it's so interesting to have the stakes of the movie, like the internal stakes of the movie, be so high, but at the same time have have just the jokes and the Easter eggs in and of themselves just always just help to lighten the mood. It's like, don't just release pressure every single time.
Yeah,
and there were so many this is like an Easter egg junkie's like dream, essentially, if you're like in relation to it. Like, they have like I said, Shinnok's amulet, they have Katana's fans just sitting there. If you wanted to talk about fatalities, we can start from Kano ripping Reptile's heart out. That's a fatality.
Yeah, that for sure.
The way Kung Lao killed the bat lady, you know what I mean, by accelerating by setting down his hat and accelerating it,
turning
and
it on,
ripping it, like chainsawing her right through.
Is that a Kung Lao fatality in the game?
Yes,
it is. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't remember that one.
Yep, and the way that Shang Tsung eats Kung Lao's soul, that is a fatality in itself.
Yeah, that scared me when I was a kid the first time I saw that move.
Sonya punching a hole through somebody.
Yeah, that was a very clean fatality.
Oh man, was there any more?
I mean, I guess I know that Cole is a original content character in relation to the movie, but I guess, his fatality was the chopping of the arm, and then the vivisection of like Goro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like chopped all his arms, and then
man, they kind of did Goro dirty. I guess he's meant to be done dirty, but
Goro's meant to be done dirty, huh?
Yeah, that's what they say in Mortal Kombat
What's the name of
community.
the female Shokan?
Oh, yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, she's in the. I mean, I can only freaking hope that this movie, you know, yeah. I mean, we're trying to give it love over here for sure. Like for whatever our voice counts. I mean, Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 2.
Mortal
Mortal
Kombat 2.
Kombat 2.
Mortal Kombat.
Also, if you're not a movie maker, just watch Mortal Kombat 1 for us.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like, if you're gonna watch any movie based off of a video game, this might be the best one.
They
Fuck.
don't have
This
a
might
good.
be
That's
the
a pretty
best
low
one.
bar, honestly.
It's a fairly low bar,
I
but
guess
this
like Silent
might
Hill is
be the
probably
best
the only
one.
good one, right?
Yeah,
Silent Hill was solid. The movie, you mean?
Yeah,
Based on a video game. Movies
right.
based on a video game.
Yeah, that was
The
a
first
scary.
Resident Evil, pretty good. Pretty good.
Super Mario Brothers, 5 out of 5. As we have all,
I
as
think
we've
we all gave that
extensively-
5 out of 5.
as we've
right?
all extensively spoken about.
No.
I think that's.
I'm
how-
sorry. Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, Mario.
No.
These fucking guys from Brooklyn.
God damn it.
Let's say Mario.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Let's
This
not
is
remind Hannah
better.
of two
This is
5 out of 5s
better.
in the same day.
100% the Mortal Kombat movie is better than the
Oh.
Super Mario
Well, you
Brothers.
heard it here first, folks. Contentious opinion, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's a hot take.
Yeah, we'll let it be for now.
See if it pays off for her.
It's not a hot take. No one agrees with you.
And they shouldn't. This movie was fucking sweet.
Yeah, dude. 5 out of
So
5.
fun.
I am
5 out of 5.
Honestly, I am
Damn,
so
stop.
surprised that they like at the casting that they bothered to use. Like I would have never expected them to have used Melina. I wouldn't have expected them to use Cabal.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have expected them to use Cabal so smartly either. You know,
he was an
Very
actual
good.
character.
yeah, like he was the linchpin to flipping the whole situation over and getting Kano to heal entirely on the
Mhm.
on the whole team. You know, he wasn't just a nameless henchman. They were like, oh, we got this guy, who looks like Cabal in the background. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't just like a drop of an
Just
Easter
another
egg. It
Easter egg.
was-
Yeah.
See, from watching Wild Wild West today, that's what I mean about subtle backstories and working them in there. You don't have to tell someone's whole story. You can just drop a couple seeds.
Couple lines
we'll
of
get it.
dialogue.
Yeah, honestly, even Melina, I mean, got some really good characterization in just the tiny little fragments. I mean, just the pride that she had in telling Sonya, be like, I don't even want to kill you. Like this, like that's not why I'm here. Bye.
Your life means
Yeah.
nothing.
Yep.
You don't even have a mark.
Yeah.
You don't even have a mark. Best running joke
Yeah.
in a movie in the past 5 years. that
Yeah.
I've seen.
Holy shit. Yeah. that
Actually-
line, girls can be so mean.
Actually,
Whoops.
not to drop a super obscure, weird reference here, but isn't You Don't Even Have a Mark a line from the Tribulation movie? With like the Mark of the Devil? Did you ever watch that very Christian movie?
No.
It's about the end times and it was super scary for young Hannah, but
Oh,
Okay.
Shit.
it's like
This
the Mark
might
of
be
the Beast.
interesting. This might be a fun podcast hole to
Ah.
go down. I don't know if
It has
you would
Gary
be in-
Busey as the main character.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not kidding.
Isn't the
Gary
one kid
Busey is
from-
the main character of Tribulation, and it's about the Mark of the Beast and like the end times. And at one point, like everybody starts getting the Mark of the Beast, and it like hits a point where like you can't do shit unless you have the Mark of the Beast. And it's like an arm tattoo in the movie. And there's this moment when Gary Busey's character is trying to do something, and this guy on the street is like, "Hey, you don't have a mark."
Oh. And that is pretty much how Sonya feels throughout this whole movie. She's like, "Oh, I want to fight." No. We can't waste our time, Sonya. I'm sorry. Like,
Sonya, just go sit in the
Yeah,
back
honestly,
room. You
li-
get into the way.
listen,
Yeah.
we appreciate you bringing them
You're a
here.
liability to the rest of the team.
Honestly, if you can't summon an Arcana,
Yeah.
you gotta get the fuck out of here. I am so intrigued by this Gary Busey Tribulation movie now.
Yeah, holy shit.
I don't know. I can't. I'm not gonna be able to get it out of my head.
Yeah, I mean, when you said when you said obscure, man, like you weren't kidding.
This is totally worth a podcast.
Yeah.
How many movies are there?
Of Tribulation?
Yeah,
I only remember the first one. There might be a couple.
and
But
it
I
goes
haven't
through the
seen
whole
this since
end
I was a
times?
child.
Like, is the first movie up to a certain point in Revelation?
Since I was a child.
Okay, all right,
Or-
all right. Well, I'm not gonna forget.
It's not
about
like
this,
Left
so.
Behind where there's 7 of them.
Right, there's 7 books, right? So they do like a couple movies and call it good.
I think there's a bunch of movies. I don't know. I'm gonna stop talking out of my ass. I don't know.
Watch these movies. We gotta watch these.
We're not watching
Alright.
Left Behind. I'm done with the Left
You
Behind
don't wanna watch the Left Behind
movies.
movies?
No, pretty good.
Okay, fine.
Kirk Cameron is, I think, overrated as an actor just because he's the only known actor that's like a Christian boy.
Yeah.
So everyone's like, Kirk Cameron, we love him.
He only got one guy. We gotta cheer on the team.
Everybody hype Kirk Cameron. He loves his wife so much. We like him.
All right, well, back onto Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Let me just say that I really, really appreciate the fact that they bothered to add this whole Arcana aspect to the movie because it kept the characters' like superpower aspects from coming from cheesy places.
Yeah.
You know, like I genuinely was not looking forward to Kano having a metal skull situation on the side of his head because that sounds way more hard to believe than just the laser coming out of his eye because he knows how to power his anger in that way, you know? And
It's a good touch.
yeah, honestly, and the fact that the monks were the ones that set down the base for Jax's prosthetic arms, also sets down a good foundation because who knows if those like if the metal, you know, for that kind of what's it called for that kind of like prosthetic is like made specifically to maybe enhance, you know what I mean, like an individual who might have the mark because I doubt that any of these guys have like say like if like that their arcana is particularly unique, you know what I mean, like if there genuinely have been for thousands of years individuals who, you know, are born or like earn the mark, right, and gain their arcana. I'm sure that there's like a cycling of like powers in relation to, you know what I mean, like sure, like your personality might align closer to a particular, you know, superpower, you know, but at the same time I feel like there's only like a certain amount of superpowers that you could, you know, potentially get in that kind of way. So it's like every single time that like say like a boisterous guy that like a Kano like, you know what I mean, comes out through history, like that's the way that it would manifest, you know what I mean, like the archetype of Kano in that way would always manifest in that way, you know what I mean, and there would always be a Sonya throughout history, you know what I mean, and you know that it's just I feel it's just really really fun because it allows me as an individual who likes to just tinker with the story inside of my head after like I've watched it, like it gives me a lot of leeway to consider like fun ways to like extend the universe inside of my head that they've already set down, you know
That's
what I
a
mean?
great word for what you do is tinker with the story.
Yeah, and extended in the universe that's inside of your head. You
I-
mentioned. Oh, go ahead.
We were almost certainly about to say the same thing, but I love I love the like earning aspect with the arcana. It super reminded me of like Super Saiyans from Dragon Ball Z and just like the idea that you just really have to hit your limit before you've earned it. That was a really really fun.
Like
And the
breakthrough.
Full Metal
Yeah,
Alchemist
piece of it.
callback essentially just for the from the way that Kano, I mean Jax got his arms. I mean it's pretty much like not the way that it happened to him, but like the iconography is essentially like
No, they definitely took a lot of cues from anime when making this movie. Like whomever the creators were, they must have, because that's how you make good fantasy video game based whatever
I
film.
really think like Kano's arcana Like, I really think undertones were taken of that from the Tournament of Power in
Oh, interesting.
Dragon Ball.
What's your connection there?
You clearly know the answer to this question. But in the Tournament of Power, when Vegeta meets the young Saiyan from the other universe,
Kaba, I think his name is.
Kaba, yeah, and he sees like Vegeta as a mentor, and he wants to learn how to be a Super Saiyan, and Vegeta virtually beats the living hell out of this child and
Have you not
threatens to
watched
kill
Dragon Ball
his
Super?
I've seen
family.
that scene.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, until he gets angry enough that he turns into a Super Saiyan, and then it's like this little nod to like get it. And that's exactly how that Kano scene felt, is when like the two were just purposely pissing him off and pushing him.
I think that adds credence to my conception that like these powers cycle through history in that way, right? Like these guys know how to push the buttons of an individual like Kano to make his arcana try to manifest in that
Well,
way.
on the other side
like-
too, when the main character Cole finally finds his arcana or however you say it, that's super similar to Goku powering up, because Goku tends to power up, not to get super into Dragon Ball in this
Oh,
podcast,
please do.
but
Anytime.
Yeah.
Goku tends to power up when his friends are in danger.
Yes. Yeah, it was. I really, really like the concept of his power that like he takes in like kinetic energy and then he can like transform that into like into more things that he needs as
Very
like
cool.
yeah, as the fight wears on and stuff like that.
They're
Like all
blowing.
he has to do is be able to endure it long enough to be able to be able to counter right back.
Mhm.
And also, the nice thing that, like, even though that sounds OP, at the same time, like, things like Sub-Zero's power that cool him right back down, like, keep him from, becoming, like, an invincible, like, Mary Sue-ish kind of character as the protagonist. It isn't like he's going through and, like, saving the day for everybody and, like, like, now, you know what I mean? Like, stand behind me as we're, like, trying to figure this whole situation out. Like, everybody genuinely goes off and, like, as a prong, you know what I mean? Like each prong handles their bad guy respectively, you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, honestly, like everybody just gets that sweet vindication, like, and
It's
like,
a fight time montage.
And not to reference back to Wild Wild West again, but
please
just
do.
once more, at no point did I feel
Wild
like the
West.
bad guys in this movie were just standing around waiting for the good guys to do something.
This movie is actually a perfect parallel. I mean, like a perfect contrasting parallel to that, that whole issue with that movie. Like everybody was so kinetic. Every single fight
Very
you could
smooth.
genuinely believe was happening synchronously, like with each other all the way through, like as each victory was mounting, like yeah, it was great, all leading up to the
Super
climactic
engaging.
the climactic one wherein like there was nothing left to watch or like pan over to like break the scene anymore. It was just one continual situation, all the way through.
That's where they spent their money too. That fight was
What a good
so
feeling, because like they plan it out for you before the fighting, like I don't know, like brigade starts, and they're like, we're all gonna go fight these individual people, and then we're all as a team gonna fight Sub-Zero, and then it's like, so you're planning for that, and then when the fighting is happening, when the original character Hanzo, is that what his
Mhm.
name is?
Yep.
Scorpion.
When he Scorpion,
Mhm.
he's easier. When he shows up and you're not expecting him because you have this other plan in your mind, it's like, yeah, I'm so excited.
Deus Ex Scorpion.
Yeah, honestly,
Vindication.
it kept me guessing pretty well because like as we were talking, it's like, who is this Cole guy? Like, is he just going to be like an avatar of Scorpion and Scorpion's gonna like jut out of him? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you thought he was Scorpion when he first started to get
We
his
thought he
arcana. That's the
was.
first thing
Totally.
you said. You said
Mhm.
Scorpion.
Yeah, I totally thought so. Like, I am very happy, even if it might be contentious to other people that like they make an original character for the movie itself. I would rather have them do that than have it just be the trope that I thought was gonna be in my head, where it was just like he's an avatar of Hanzo and like Hanzo's spirit overtakes him. You know what I mean? And like uses his body to like be
Oh,
Scorpion
right.
essentially.
I like the
you know what I mean?
bloodline situation.
That's a cool angle. Yeah. It is frustrating, however, as a diehard Mortal Kombat fan, like most of us are here, even just for the fighting games, that
Yeah.
you use an original character as your protagonist in a movie titled Mortal Kombat. Tell us. Just tell us. Cole Young, we spent half the movie. Who the fuck is Cole Young? Is it Liu
That's
Kang? Is
true.
it an anagram? Is it who the fuck is this
I
We
guy?
think
speculated
I
hard.
personally love that. I love the like now thinking back retrospectively,
Oh.
I love the fact that they did that because like it was like a peeling of the layers kind of situation. Because at first I was like, okay, this guy's Liu Kang. You know what I mean? Like they're going to come. They're
He's
gonna.
not.
They're gonna.
We
Yeah,
saw
exactly.
it.
I was like, at first I was like, okay, this guy's Liu Kang. Like they're gonna come and tell him that that's his actual name. Like he's not actually Cole Young. Boom, we meet Liu Kang. That's not actually the case. Then I was like, okay, that layer peels off. Then I'm like, oh, okay, he's the bloodline of Scorpion. Okay, so he's Scorpion then. You know what I mean? Like he's the
Yeah.
Neo Scorpion kind of situation. Not it. You know?
This was a joke we even said during this movie, is that we were trying to figure out who Cole Young was by process of elimination and
Yeah.
watching for the other
We
characters.
saw Reptile. We saw Cabal. We saw
Mhm.
Kano. We get out the scratch pad. We got 64 of these.
And
fucking
although I
guys,
can
think,
see
to
how
get through.
some people might be disappointed in the fact that they can't guess at him because he's an original character, I think it was great because it allowed the actual genuine characters to breathe. Like, you know, Liu Kang is his own character. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I even thought it was Kung Lao I even thought that he was going to be Kung Lao for a second. I just kept
So
giving him
yeah.
like monikers of people that he could possibly be. And they just kept showing up and being way more badass than
By a lot.
than Cole.
Yes, you did it right.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, like they totally subjugate against what you're probably. Oh, you could be. No, that's
No,
even
they
better.
subvert you every
Yeah,
single
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
how
time.
cool was Kung Lao as like our first example of that? Kung
he
Lao
could-
was
And his
breathtaking.
introduction was so cool. Oh, my
when he
gosh.
first showed up, ugh, it was such a good entrance.
Mhm.
I don't know how the Matrix Resurrections is gonna live up to whatever
Now
the
that we
sequel
watched
to this
this, right?
movie is.
Yeah, they need to bring it.
This is so good, man. So
So
good.
fun.
Like I cannot believe I
And they did
love the
nothing-
original.
It's amazing how well they managed to be able to fill in the plot angles that they wanted to in this movie, yet leave enough open vectors for what can be. You know, they're like, let's go look for Johnny Cage. We still haven't seen Shao Kahn, you know, even though we've seen a sweet ass statue of him.
I
you
mean,
know?
we still haven't even done a Mortal Kombat tournament.
Well, that's the very
That's
yeah.
true. Yeah,
This
we
is
know
just
that
all
Katana
warm-up.
exists because
Yeah.
her fan, like they have
yeah, you
an
pointed
artifact
out.
of her fan. You know what I mean? So like she might still be in Outworld, and that could be somebody that they could get in their team too. Like, yeah, they can get that female Shokan that I was saying that
Yeah.
the Goro counterpart. You know,
Chagra Bob. I don't know.
Yeah.
I made that up.
Shiva.
Again.
I think it's
Oh, it might be an SH name.
Somewhere-
Right?
somewhere-
Shiva,
Shiva. Yeah, somewhere around
Shiva?
there. Yeah.
something like that. Or is that the Screamy lady? There's a Screamy lady too.
That's Sindel.
Sindel. That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't seen her. Man, yeah, the actual Mortal Kombat is going to take place in movie 3, I believe. Until then, we just gather fighters. We go through the preliminary steps.
Yeah, I mean that's what's also really interesting in the sense that this movie has such a leg up to the original Mortal Kombat in the sense that the original Mortal Kombat literally only had that little like that little Sega Genesis game to go off of in terms of
Yeah.
like capturing a storyline. At this point there's dozens of Mortal Kombat games that you can pick characterizations from, you know what I mean, at leisure and just, plug and play essentially at this point and just try to make it so the characters mesh well together and the story just continues onward. Like, yeah, like I thought that the Shang Tsung in this one was formidable. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like he like the actor, you know what I mean? And all his lines were just like he had the right gravitas to be like he didn't fight at any point, but like
Yeah.
the moment he did something, it's like, nope, I got your soul now. You know what I mean?
You
Like,
stupid idiot.
Yep.
I'm like a god. Get
Yeah.
the fuck out of here.
It's so fun to watch a movie though where you see a scene like that and everybody watching it is like, no.
No, he's doing it.
Yeah.
Not only doing it, but it's like we can't do shit about it. Like
Yeah.
it's too late, you know. Like
Yeah, I just felt like this movie, like all of us were 100% engaged from the moment it started. And we were like, we were doing that fun thing where you're reacting to a movie and you're enjoying it and you're laughing and you're reacting. And it was just really cool.
yeah, I mean, this movie, honestly, in my personal opinion, was coming in at a disadvantage from my perspective, just because of the fact that the new Mortal Kombat games have done such a good job at their storytelling nowadays, and the graphics and like fight animations and like everything like that are just so top notch that like watching it in live action, it's like, how are you going to compare nowadays? You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, especially with what I've seen. And holy hell, if it didn't do just that, like,
Every bit of the way.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
very fun.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if there is, I don't know, like if I want to nitpick one negative thing, I I'd say that maybe the beginning started a little obtuse, because although I understand that perhaps, coming in from a Mortal Kombat uh like um like fan, you know what I mean? Like I understand that Sub-Zero's clan and Scorpion's clan have always had beef with each other, right? But it's like it just begins a bit too abrupt, like um I, yeah, I guess at that point I would have liked just a tiny bit more like backstory in relation to like what caused that tension to rise to the degree that these people would come through and murder this guy's whole family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In cold blood.
Yeah.
Literal cold blood. you know.
I mean, coming into it without any like backstory knowledge from Mortal Kombat, that's a concession that I made right out the gate.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
because,
Fair
like,
enough.
as
Yeah.
I was watching this, I was like, I don't know the story. Like, I'm just gonna have to take this at face value as it comes up. But for sure, I spent the first part of this movie kind of confused.
For sure.
And that's like a little bit of a bummer for me, but at the same time, like, it's my fault I don't know any of the backstories.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's really difficult to say, right? Because especially with a thing that has such a long running franchise and mythos at this point, right? Because it's
Yeah,
like,
like the
I
Mario
mean,
Brothers. You expect people to know.
exactly right. I mean,
Yeah.
like Mortal Kombat is an institution at this point, right? It's like if you don't know even a tiny bit about it, be like, why are you watching this movie? Like, like,
I do think backstories are a little bit more of like a stretch though, because like I mean, for the Mario Brothers movies, all I had to know was what I learned from the games, really.
right,
Whereas like I never watched a Mortal Kombat movie. I just played the games with my friends and we just fought each other, which doesn't provide you with really any backstory.
Not the
So
older ones for sure.
I would have liked like at least a couple of hints. Like it doesn't have to be the whole story, but like at least a couple of hints as to why this guy's whole family got killed out the gate.
right.
Yep. Solid point.
I would have liked to be able to see what caused Sub-Zero to become Shang Tsung's revenant.
Yeah.
Like that was another little thing that just again you just have to take at face value because that's just how it happens in the lore.
Yeah.
But if the movie's gonna do anything, you know what I mean. I feel that they should have at least showcased what caused each thing to happen, or have like maybe Shang Tsung appear at the beginning when they're fighting each other, and like he like gives Sub Zero like a little bit of extra power to like overpower Hanzo. You know what I mean? And in doing so, he has to um like contract his soul to him. You know what I mean? Like I'll give you the power to end the Lin Kuei, but in order to be able to do so, you have to, because I just feel like because when he went there to him, he like I don't know, like what am I supposed to believe? Like, does Sub Zero's ice power come from Shang Tsung? You know what I mean? Like in that way, like or like
Maybe it's like, okay, because didn't I say something like I thought Scorpion's power came from like the devil, like when we started watching the movie, right?
he had initially he did
Oh,
not have
from
any
hell.
power.
Right. Yeah.
He was just a skilled warrior.
Yeah,
And
but then
With a
like
knife
he
and a rope.
but when he
Mhm.
went to hell, I was like, I think this is what I remember, right? Scorpion going to hell or something, and then he comes back, and Maybe it's similar because
They cut off Quan Chi for now.
right.
They haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pretty much made it so he goes to the Nether realm and he literally just meditates down
Just
there.
becomes
Yeah, exactly.
Scorpion. Yeah.
Yeah, he sheds Hanzo and becomes Scorpion, and because of that, he's symbiotic now, essentially, with another realm and can like do the pew pew teleportation situation.
It would only make sense too, especially if Sub-Zero was immortal, because of how we see his powers advance from the very first scene in the movie, where he can just kind of create like crystals and sort of like, manipulate it a little bit to how we see him at the end of the movie, where he was like fucking make us ice blade and
Okay, yeah, I can understand that, but see again, it wouldn't have hurt. You know what I mean? Just have a little scene where it's like maybe in like shadows. Like Shang Tsung gives the order to Sub-Zero. Like maybe you don't even see faces quite yet, right? But you hear voices. And at that point, you then flip over to the family situation. You know what I mean? And at that point, you already have a catalyst to why it is happening. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's cool. It reminds me of with the end of Empire. No, there is another. There is another. Something dark side.
Something.
Yeah, something to that. Yeah. But at this point, it's like just little patchy things. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
It's amazing they did this well.
Yeah,
honestly.
super petty complaints, I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah.
Like, we're reaching for just so we don't sound like a Mortal Kombat hype.
yeah, honestly,
Yes.
yeah.
Mortal
But we
Kombat
are
2.
hype.
Mortal-
Mortal Kombat 2.
6 seasons in a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It kind of came with like an Avengers vibe or like a Marvel movie vibe where it was like
and I'm here for it. All right.
yeah, like the gravity of the action that was going on,
I
but
feel
just
like such a
consistently
sucker
broken
not
up.
having gone to see it in. Not that I would have seen it in theaters, but like paid for it in like that interim of time where like the box office like aspect of it, like
Comes into play.
yeah. I wonder, yeah, like how like the new HBO Max model works. You know what I mean? Like what because I know that like okay, like you have a subscription to HBO. Like I'm sure that they have a tabulation as to like the things you actually bothered to use during this month of subscription, right?
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, okay, like
Guaranteed.
huh?
Guaranteed.
Yeah, and then like okay, you actually like X amount of people have actually bothered to watch the Mortal Kombat movie. Is there any means of putting like a thumbs up or anything on this movie right now so we don't forget about?
I think if there is a like feature on this, it's more for your streamability so they can figure out
Oh,
like
okay.
what you want to see. and
Gotcha.
Put that in front of your,
Well, if that's the
Big
case, yes,
face.
more like this, please.
More like that, and they'll give you 40 shitty examples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
None of these are like that. Hold on a second.
No, I can attest.
Avengers, get the fuck out of here.
As somebody who loves horror movies and I thumbs up all the good horror movies that I see on like Netflix or any other streaming service, if they give me an option to like a really good horror movie, I try to help them out with the algorithm to give me everything I need. They fill your stuff with garbage. As soon
Yeah.
as they're like, "Oh, you like horror movies? Well, we have tons of horror movies."
Get ready, moron.
Yeah, it's not I don't think it's a super deep algorithm that is referencing any sort of ratings or anything that's going to be actually helpful to movie buffs.
Got it. I'm just trying to I'm just trying to do it in terms of like the executives being able to see the fact that people are,
Actually, well, they got a review on their app, right?
Maybe you
Better
can
than a
email
lot
the
of things, right?
executives and tell them like, "Give us more. We love this. Great
Mortal
job."
Kombat.
I mean, I looked at the box office; it made its money back and a little bit more. So
Oh, good.
yeah. So we can only hope. And well, I guess at 40 minutes, this was a
We
pretty
only
short
planned
one.
for 20.
Yeah, that's a short.
Yeah,
Yeah, we could
we
call
were
it a
gunning for
short.
20. We hit 40. Sounds perfect.
That's beautiful. Well, thanks. Thank you. Thank you, Jose.
Wait,
once again.
wait.
Oh,
5
okay.
stars from all corners.
Oh, I'm giving it 5.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Right
No,
now,
I'm
I'm
giving
giving
it
it 5.
Yeah.
100%.
Mhm.
All right.
You could take that to the bank.
Yeah.
And until next time, folks, again, have a good night.
Good
Yeah.
night. Ooh, double feature.